All right, welcome everyone to the Space Prize Speaker Series, episode 6. It is June 2022, and we are thrilled to be joined by Katrina Carter-Journet from Virgin Galactic. We've got some really great questions for Katrina today and a fantastic discussion ahead. I teased the live audience with the fact that she's also a ballroom dancer in an email about 10 minutes ago and already sparked some great conversation. So looking forward to the whole thing. I'm going to say a few words about the Space Prize Foundation, and then I will hand it over to Kim here in a moment, and we'll be off to the races with the interview. So I'm Mark Wagner. I'm the president of the Space Prize Foundation, a nonprofit based in New York City, though I'm here in California, focused on encouraging students, particularly young women, to pursue STEAM education, that's science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math, and to explore careers in the space industry. So this series is largely focused on various career trajectories into the space industry. So we'll hear about Katrina's today. And all of the different jobs that are possible there, and just what well-rounded, amazing humans are working in them. So we hope that more and more students, including young women and other underrepresented groups, will see themselves as in these people and see that as a possible career path for themselves. I am joined today by my counterpart at the foundation, Kim Macharia. She's our executive director. I'll introduce her a little bit more completely in a moment, but I want to tell you guys a few more things about what Space Prize has been up to, because we just completed the Space Prize New York City Challenge just this past Sunday. I've introduced it for the last several weeks, but it came to its culmination with the girls' zero-G flight on Sunday, so we can chat a little bit about that today too. The girls did a essay contest in January. These are girls from public New York City high schools in all 5 boroughs. We had 25 finalists after the essay contest in January. They all did a video contest in February. The judging was in March, and by the end of the March, these 25 girls, or 24 in this picture, actually got to experience a simulated mission to Mars at the Challenger Center there in Manhattan. We also had all of their faces up on some very large billboards in Times Square, which was extraordinary for these New York City kids in collaboration with the Female Quotient. They also had their own Yuri's Night celebration with us at Waterline Square in Manhattan. And some of the winners then, the first batch of winners, were off to Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama, where they attended Space Camp's new leadership program called LIFT. Space Camp Lift. Our 5 most recent and final winners experienced a zero-G flight this past weekend. Denise Crosby from Star Trek was able to go up with them thanks to a partnership with Gaze in Space. And that was really special to everyone involved. And Kim got to fly with them as well. So as soon as I introduced Kim, perhaps she'll tell us a little bit about what her weightless experience was like. If you want to see what else the org is up to, just head on over to spaceprize.org, where we are constantly updating the website with the latest and greatest. A couple of the programs that you'll find there now that have just kicked off are the Space Prize Challenge in Paris. So very similar to the New York City Challenge, we're running this with a special school outside of Paris. It's focused on aviation and is named after a famous French aviator. Was a woman who broke a lot of records back in the 1920s, if I remember that correctly. So one of these students, there'll be a number of finalists that join us at IAC in September, and one of them will also get to go on a zero-G flight out of France. The Space Prize curriculum is also right around the corner, coming hopefully at the first half of it at the end of this month. The question we asked ourselves at the beginning of this whole process was, what do we do for the girls that don't go up, don't win a zero-G flight, for instance? We want it to be a meaningful educational experience for everybody involved. So this curriculum will actually be available to all students and teachers and enthusiasts around the globe. The first 4 chapters will be released later this month, and the next 4 by the end of August. So it'll be ready to use for the school year. Could actually serve as an elective course in a school. It could be an after-school program, or it could be a self-paced thing that students access on their own. So watch out for that soon. This speaker series is another effort to provide some educational value. The primary audience, of course, is the young women involved in the Space Prize challenges around the world, but it's open also to students and educators and enthusiasts everywhere. As you can see, this is featuring astronauts, engineers like Katrina, scientists of all kinds, entrepreneurs, designers. We've got spacecraft interior designers, zero-G fashion designers, lawyers, historians, and many, many more. I was lining up a space anthropologist today for later in the series. So if this is your first introduction to it, we hope you guys will join us for more. It's just spaceprize.org/speakers. So for those of you who are here with us live today, just a couple of norms, although with this small of a group, we're pretty flexible about it. Looks like we got a handful more people come in since we started. But do participate in the chat. I'm going to open mine up right now. It looks like we've got a couple of things in there since we kicked off too. And do use the raise hand feature pretty much anytime that you want to pipe in. Also, honestly, with this small group, feel free to just interject or interrupt, because that'll probably work well too. But I'll do my best to moderate what's happening in the chat and bring it to Kim's attention if we have any relevant questions and so forth. Feel free to unmute if you're doing that. Feel free to share your screen if we invite you to. Obviously, our only concern is we don't want people taking over the stream, and we'll have to take action if needed. And if you need any help, you can just throw it in the chat, text me individually in the chat, or actually just use the help feature, which will text me as well. One other thing is we will leave wait time occasionally between questions to see if any of the other participants have questions, or to see if there's any more coming from Katrina. So if there are brief pauses like that, know that that's by design. Now, I do want to introduce Kim Macharia. Kim is our executive director. Kim has been involved in the space industry in a number of capacities over the last several years. She is now the chair of the board at the Space Frontier Foundation, and she is our executive director at Space Prize. She's got her hands in everything, and it seems like it's every week Kim is off to speak at another space conference or space event. She's definitely been our voice and our advocate in the press, and we are thrilled to have her here actually hosting this interview. So Kim, thanks for joining us this week. Really excited to have you here and excited to work with you on it, as I am all the time. But I'm going to hand it over to Kim. She'll introduce Katrina and take it from there. And I will be with you guys in the chat.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Mark. Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Macharia, and I'm so excited to be chatting tonight with Katrina Carter-Journet. Katrina is actually originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and she has a BS in physics from Southern University and A&M College. She also has an MS in biophysics from Cornell University. Katrina has worked in multiple industries ranging from astrophysics, biomedical engineering, aerospace to oil and gas. However, her passion has always been aerospace. Katrina began her professional career studying gravitational wave astrophysics at the LIGO Livingston Observatory, part of a joint project between Caltech and MIT. Drawn by the idea that the Earth is just one glorious piece of the universe, she eventually transitioned her interest to human space exploration by supporting various projects and programs at NASA. Katrina contributed to reliability and maintainability analyses for the Space Shuttle program, probabilistic risk assessments for the International Space Station, and supported R&M for new extravehicular mobility unit designs for future missions back to the moon and beyond. That same desire to continue to see the evolution of human space exploration led her to accept an amazing opportunity to work at Virgin Galactic as an engineering specialist supporting R&M. In this next phase of Katrina's career, she is excited to focus on making space accessible to the public and allowing everyday citizens to embark on a transformative journey of a lifetime. Katrina is also an active member of Virgin Galactic STEM Outreach Initiative, Galactic Unite, and one of the coordinators of the Galactic Unite Black Leaders in Aerospace Scholarship and Training Program. Welcome, Katrina. Thank you again for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Kim. That was a wonderful intro. Thank you so much.
Of course, you have an incredibly fascinating background, and I would love to start off by just hearing you tell the audience about your work at Virgin Galactic.
So at Virgin Galactic, I work as an engineering specialist in the reliability, maintainability, and serviceability group. So the goal is really to push the success of the mission by looking at each individual system on the spaceship and the mothership. So we really want to make sure that the components are working, that the systems are performing properly and optimally before we put our astronauts like Ron above, who's joined us today, put Ron on there. We want him safe and going up to that glorious moment where you have that beautiful overview effect. And we want him to come back safely. So I do everything from looking at designs, working with engineers, doing maintainability analyses. I look at cost-effective designs as well. So the overall view of whatever it takes for it to be good and successful is what I work for.
Wow, you have some heavy responsibilities on your plate. How did you even get into this career? That's a fascinating role that you have there.
You know, Kim, I came out of undergraduate. I went straight into graduate school thinking, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to do biomedical research. And I took all of these classes and decided I don't like any of these. I came home to rediscover myself. And I took a little stint teaching high school, cheerleading and math as a substitute teacher while I found what I was interested in. And then as I was going through that motion of kind of rediscovering my love of physics and then trying to find my way through biomedical research, I put in a simple Google search. At that time, it was Monster and Career Builder were the big ones. And I put in everything that I loved. And it came up with this job opportunity in Texas. And I'd never heard about a reliability or maintainability analyst or engineer. I went and Googled it and I said, I can do that, and that. I applied and then they brought me out for an interview. They flew me in the same day. I had the interview and they flew me back out that exact same day. And the next day I had the offer and I moved. And ever since then, I've been in reliability and maintainability. It was a chance of a lifetime to just go off and drop into the aerospace world. And they didn't say it was for NASA. I didn't know that that would be the company that I would be working for until I got there. So I was a contractor and they had government contracts.
Wow, I can only imagine the surprise your friends and family must have showed when you told them you're gonna go start working in the space industry at a job title, a role that I'm sure they had also never heard of as well. How did you manage the expectations and reactions of those in your circle, in your community, when you started off on this kind of new career path for yourself?
I think, you know, my parents were already supportive. When I was growing up, my father would say, you aim for the stars and you hope to land on the moon. So always have big dreams, think big, never move small. So for him, you know, it was natural that I would progress that way and do something interesting and just step out. I've always been one to want to try something, at least once to see if I like it. You know, twice I'm going back again. It's like sushi. So I really loved it. And I could not think of anything better to do. And I had a lot of friends that were really interested because they were mostly in the sciences, engineering or mechanical engineering, things of that nature. In Louisiana, if you are in petroleum engineering or mechanical engineer, it's a really ideal area for you. Aerospace, not so much going on there. So I really knew I would have to move anyway.
And when you were growing up, had you ever considered working in the space industry or dreamt about becoming an astronaut or anything of the sort?
I think, you know, I had all of those dreams growing up. You know, in elementary school, I can remember them putting the television, the big bulky television, like my son laughs at me, in the room, and you would watch the space liftoffs for, you know, Johnson Space Center. Mission Control was doing everything, lifting off from KSC, and you're looking at Challenger, you're looking at all of these things. I remember that excitement and that thrill of watching all these things. And even when you see those disasters, really thinking about, oh my goodness, but it really compelled me to want to know more. You know, what made people take those risks? What kind of people designed these vehicles? What's the overall goal of it? And is it sustainable? You know, the idea, can you go backwards and forth? Because I was watching the Jetsons floating around there. They had the first Brady Bunch green. They did, they had the first iPhone, they had it all. So Hanna-Barbera is owed some money.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And you have, I mean, from back in that time period where you had watched these cartoons and also watched these groundbreaking missions at the time back in your youth to now when you are actually contributing to the future of the development of the space economy as we know it today. How does that feel to go from being an outsider to that now being making key contributions to the way in which the industry is developing?
that's my big Hamilton moment. I want to be in the room where it happens. So now I am in the room and I'm excited to be there. It's a chance to really see a new industry take off. Before we always think about, government running missions, you think about NASA, you think about International Space Station, but you didn't think about it for the public. So when I had the opportunity to transition over and be with a company that was really geared toward making it accessible for the public and seeing that next phase, I couldn't help but come over because I've been a part of sustainment, I've been a part of maintaining, but to see it new and launch off is just enormous. It's the best thing ever.
Wow, I just adore the excitement and enthusiasm you bring into this role, but I can only imagine because we all know space is hard, but you have encountered a number of obstacles and challenges. So I'd love it if you could share with the audience some of the challenges you've encountered and how you actually went about overcoming those challenges along your journey.
I will say one of the first things I realized going into a meeting, I prepared everything. I'd had this meeting with the engineer. And then I got burned at a meeting, my very first meeting at my first job in aerospace, where the engineer suddenly didn't agree with anything that was in the presentation. So I'm there at the briefing, there with my management, and I was just stunned for the first time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was not prepared. I didn't have my backup slides, my Excel spreadsheets, nothing. So I remember my manager coming to my rescue during the meeting. And after the meeting, I really wanted to just go in the corner somewhere and cry. But he called me to his office and he said, I don't want you to be sad. He said, that happens to everybody. You consider it like a little bit of burn in as you learn your way. He said, but what you need is a mentor. He said, so I'm going to mentor you and I'm going to show you how to prepare yourself for these meetings. So Mark will tell you, I logged in early. I was there before him and I had my backup slides ready just in case you wanted pictures or something. I was checking my lighting. I was making sure that I was connected properly. I learned preparation meets presentation meets success. So I would never be caught off guard like that again. And that's the first thing that I knew. And it helped me build my confidence. It helped me to be extra ready every time I stepped up to the meeting or I'm asked a question. If I don't know it, I will say, I do not know it. I won't hover over it and I will get back to them with a timeline. And I learned that early in my career. And that's what I teach students. Don't get burned, be prepared.
It's like you've truly turned those supposed losses, those setbacks into true lessons that you are actively continuing to apply to your journey. And clearly the benefits, the proof is in the pudding. So you mentioned that this mentorship element was such a vital part of your journey. And now that you are so established in your career, what kind of advice are you giving to students now who were where you once were?
I tell them to do everything that I didn't do. When I went to graduate school, I had a full fellowship and I was working on my doctorate. And somewhere in the midst of it, I got idealistic and said, this is not speaking or resonating with me. And I quit. I finished my master's, I did my thesis, and I went home and I started my journey. But if I could go back, a younger Katrina, I would tell her to finish what you start. Forget this idealism, get that degree, and make it work for you because you're not limited by the field that you work in. You can hop over to any field that you want to. I've done biomedical engineering, I've been in oil and gas, and I've been with my beloved aerospace in and out. Because the skills are transferable. The knowledge is the same. I had a physics professor that would tell me force is equal to mass times acceleration anywhere you go. So it does not matter where you are as long as you have the core knowledge. And that's what I learned. So now I don't want them to quit. I want them to keep going, to push, have that moment, take a breather, but talk to somebody before you make large decisions like that will shape the rest of your career in your life forever. Because later you say, I'll go back. But life has a way of catching up with you. And sometimes we go back, sometimes we don't.
I mean, I feel like that kind of wisdom and advice is something you can apply throughout your entire life, no matter where you are in your journey. Here at Space Prize, we are all about promoting gender equity in the space industry and helping young women to combat the disparities that exist right now. So although there are tons of ways by which you can work to overcome the hurdles you'll encounter, what do you think it is that the industry needs to do in order to create a more welcoming or inclusive environments for all of these new diverse talent that's coming into the field right now?
I think first they have to acknowledge that they have a problem. The fact that you go and you look at upper level management and you see less than 3% is Black or any other ethnicity is a problem. So first you have to really acknowledge and say, hey, I can see that it's not level. So what do we do to level the playing field? So no one's asking you to just give it to someone because they're a woman or they're a person of color or they have some of their persuasion in their life. Give it to them is not what they want. They want to earn it. They want to have an opportunity to do it. And they should be given that chance and not ruled out by their gender or their race or what style of clothing that they wear or their hair, whatever they're doing, whether it's jewelry or tattoos. Look at me, see my talent, allow me to contribute my ideas. So we have to acknowledge it, we have to welcome it, and then we have to make a plan to keep it coming through. And it starts with going all the way to elementary school with the space chats that my fellow astronaut there, Ron, does with Virgin Galactic. He has these beautiful space chats with children from elementary school all the way up to high school. I know that he would even speak to college and beyond. And he reaches out and he inspires them early on. So that's where it starts, telling them that they can have it, they can do it, and showing them what it is like on any level that you choose to do it, whether you're the scientist, the designer, whether you're the barista at the coffee place, that in there, it all matters. If you are contributing to the overall good, you have a role to play. You just choose your lane and then you get in there and you run your race. Put the blinders on. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. You are your competition. And it took me a long time to really learn that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that so often it's that mindset that we basically hold ourselves back, right? And deprive ourselves from actually getting exposed to opportunities that could revolutionize and totally change our lives. And going back to this pipeline issue, it seems that you're doing some really fantastic work to address that through the BLAST program at Virgin Galactic. Can you tell us more about that program?
So it's Black Leaders in Aerospace Training Scholarship Program, and it's really geared toward helping those students in college come to that next level so that when they come into the aerospace industry, that they are prepared. And it's a little bit more than just giving them money. They get mentorship, they get internship opportunities, they get networking, and they learn all about finances, they learn about leadership. And they are introduced to everything from CEOs to innovators to groundbreakers at that point in their life where many people will have never met the CEO ever, let alone have one-on-one opportunities to get advice on leadership. They are given that opportunity. So they have met Commander Chris Hadfield. They have met Dr. Sandra Magnus. They have met CEO Michael Koglaser. They have met HR head Aparna Chittle. And they have had the opportunity to meet these people face to face, ask questions, and get the secret to their success. It doesn't get any better than that. You know,
I'm a little jealous too now.
I'm excited.
Wow. And how has it been for you to get to support the students through this program?
You know, it is everything to me to mentor. I was mentored, so I want to give back and I want to mentor. And I have a beautiful 14-year-old daughter, Lana, handsome son, Robert, who just graduated from the 5th grade. And my daughter's going to be graduating from the 8th grade this year. And I want them to be mentored. I want someone to reach out and pull back and give them the things that they're interested in. I'm in science and engineering. My daughter wants to be a writer. My son is all into anime and art. I want someone to mentor them. So I want to plant that seed and then let it grow.
Wow. And you're really doing that not just through the love and wisdom that you're pouring out into your children, but through your work with the BLAST program and through your work with Galactic Unite. Can you also tell the audience more about that program as well?
Yes, there is a scholarship program, a little bit like BLAST, but it's open to all ethnicities. And I have this beautiful mentee, Jennifer, who is in the UK, and she is a physics major. And it's been my joy to watch her as a freshman go into her sophomore year. And we have talked about SMART goals. We've talked about metrics, presentations, interview skills, LinkedIn profiles, networking, cover letters, even how to manage her social media. To see her grow and become so savvy and so smart is amazing. And I get the opportunity to just enjoy it, just to sit, give her a chance to grow, give her advice, no judgment-free zone, and then just watch her go out there and do amazing things. That is the best feeling. And she is so awesome. I'm completely biased.
No, I can imagine. I have a mentee through the Patty Grace Fellowship Program, and I definitely feel biased as to how impressive and amazing she is. She's been growing and flourishing as well. She actually just conducted a pitch competition at ISDC. She produced the whole thing, and getting to see all the photos and such from the event just brought such warmth to my heart to know that she's progressed so well. But I'd love to hear too, when it comes to these mentor-mentee relationships, not everyone's able to get all the kinds of things you just explained about your own personal mentor and mentee relationship. Not everyone gets all of those benefits and those learnings out of those relationships. So what do you think it is that is so essential to do on either part as a mentor or a mentee in order to make the most of that experience?
So as a mentor, you have to be open to fresh ideas. We get a little bit older, we get a little bit stale and static in our point of view. We've been there, done that. And you have to leave that at the door when you have someone new and impressionable coming in. Your goal is to help them grow, not to crush them, not to put them down, but to help them flourish, shine them up. They are diamonds. So, you have to do that. On the mentee side, they have to be actively listening and they have to be committed. So when I set an appointment with you, you better be there and show up on time. And I don't need a last minute cancellation because this is something that's going to carry on into your workplace. Your manager is not going to accept a last minute cancellation. You need to be on time with those deliverables. If you have an obstacle or something in your way, I need to know in advance. So that's the kind of training that I give my mentee. And in return, I get something back from them. I get to learn new things as well. So like Jenny in the UK is a yoga guru. So she's helping me work on my balance and my poses. And
I
I'm
love
open
that.
to that.
Yeah, you do actually have a number of gifts. Not only are you an incredible mentor, incredible leader, have a fascinating background, but you also like to do things that are outside of the space industry. I know you're a dancer, rumor has it. So I'd love to hear more about why you got into ballroom dancing and how that you feel like that helps to round you out as an individual.
I walked out of a relationship. I was divorced and I was walking around in Pearland Town Center in Houston, Texas. And I've always loved to watch ballroom dancing, the movies, PBS, because my parents had me on PBS constantly, Jacques Cousteau and Nature Nova. And eventually you see a little ballroom and you're like, ooh, I'm breaking the monotony. So I loved it so much. And I thought about it, I said, you want to dance, you like this, you want to sparkle on the floor, don't you? And I walked into a Fred Astaire studio and I never looked back. I just fell in love. It is the glamour, it's the lights, it's the sparkly costumes, it is the twirling on the floor. You leave your problems at the door. The dance is problem free. It's all about you, your partner, and the moves. And it's trust. I have to trust my partner to lead me through that dance or it just won't work. And freeing myself to trust someone to lead has helped me in work too, because then I can give up a little bit of that lead too to my coworkers and my teammates so we can work more efficiently. Sometimes it's easy for you to look and say, oh my God, he is taking way too long. She could have done that differently. Let me do it. Now I've learned through dancing, you just let go. Have a little bit of synergy, mentor a little bit, learn a little bit, and just have a good time getting it all done.
That is just music to my ears because again, at Space Prize, we aren't just about STEM, we're about STEAM. And that artistic element, like you've just exemplified, it provides an outlet for individuals to learn things in ways by which they might not have learned them otherwise. It provides this ability to truly be free in some really unique ways. And we are trying to encourage our girls at Space Prize to leverage the power of the arts. And your story truly just proves how necessary I think it really is to find some way, whether it's performing, visual arts, anything, to engage and incorporate the arts into your life because it has more benefits than we can probably even realize. And so with that in mind, I would love to hear, how do you think we can better prepare students for success in the growing space industry? Should we be doing more dancing? Is that what it might require?
I think it would not hurt to have a little ballroom dancing in 0G. I'm happy to try that out with you guys. We'll see what
I
we
won't
can
say
do
no.
up there. But truly, I think the most important thing is to prepare them early. I watched my son put together a little palace. The Alani Palace in Hawaii was his project for 5th grade. He had to have a PowerPoint presentation and have his landmark, and he had to have little cards and everything and present to his class. And I was thinking to myself, this is a lot of work from the parents' point of view for all these supplies, but it is training all the way at the very beginning, because he will be presenting for the rest of his life. He'll be presenting at work. He'll be presenting new ideas and concepts, and he needs to know how to build everything and put it together. So that's what we need more of. We need to train them early in the skills that they need. We need to have more skills get dedicated to specific things: coding, programming, designing, writing. There is a technique and an art to all of that. And they don't need to wait until they get to the job to do that. They can be learning that now in elementary school, middle school, high school.
Absolutely. I mean, it truly is never too early. And the way I've been blown away by all the students of all ages, from elementary to undergrad, their level of brilliance and understanding, and that not just their IQ, but their EQ. This next generation is something else. And I think it is so vital that we encourage them to explore all of these different sides of themselves in order to prepare them for one of the most innovative industries out there. So again, I'd also love to know, when you think about humanity's potential, very rapidly approaching multi-planetary future, what skill sets, what attributes do you think we need to be instilling into students so that they're prepared for not just the business side of things, but the fact that humanity is truly expanding its presence into the cosmos right now?
They need the ability to dream and to dream big and vivid and wild and in color. Too often we tell people what they can't do or what they shouldn't do, or that's too hard. We should take all of those boundaries away, teach them to dream big, and then give them the tools to reach it. So if you say, I want to build this spaceship out of composite, then, let's learn how to build some stuff out of composite. We need to teach them to have big dreams, big thoughts, big goals, and then how to go after it. Because I need them to not only dream, but to put action to it. And that's when you have your vision realized. If we give them that, they are ready.
And speaking of vision, what is your vision for humanity's multiplanetary future? What do you feel like this next chapter in our evolution as a species could look like?
Ooh. Oh, Kim, you have the hard questions. Let's see.
Of course. I think you can handle it based on all of your other insanely amazing answers.
So what I imagine us to be like is, right now, we're starting off with spaceship, is think about 100 years into the future, that spaceship becomes like airplanes and airplanes become like buses. That is what I envision. I envision little mini colonies out there in the suborbital area, little mini space stations that are meant for therapy or relaxation or health benefits. I sit in on this wonderful kind of learning opportunity with these students in Milan, and they had a proposal with jacuzzi on what they would do as a space habitat. And it was all about jacuzzis, emblem, and relaxation and water, and creating this water room and healing joints and expressing themselves, and to see their ideas and envision this. They had the idea of the space habitat, the spaceship going there, docking there, and the people having the time of their lives, even space cocktails, and then coming back relaxed and ready to have a completely new view of the world and to change it. So that's what I really envision. So in order to do all of that, I also envision them cleaning up the world, get that pollution out of the air, clean up our oceans, our beaches, use more sustainable green things. I think we will be green, sleek, and smart. That's what I'm hoping for.
Wow, I have been obsessed with all of the answers you've delivered so far. I'm just completely wowed, and I feel like I could ask you a million more questions, but I do want to give the audience a chance to pick your brain as well. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for Katrina? Feel free to either drop them in the chat, or you can come off mute and ask Katrina yourself.
We do have Natasha with his hand up, and then we have a question from Aisha in the chat after that.
Awesome.
Yes, I do have a question. First of all, hello, ma'am. It's so great to see your responses, and your answers are truly inspiring. My question is, as you got such a great opportunity with such a young, at such a, I mean, beginning. So do you think the element of luck plays a plays a
So I think he paused
crucial
a little
role
bit.
in your success of career right now?
So let me get sync on.
My question was, does the element of luck plays a crucial role in a career success in the space industry, especially?
Luck is a funny thing. So being that I'm a physicist, I don't believe in luck. I certainly believe that you can have faith that you can accomplish great things, but I think luck is nothing but preparation. So when preparation meets opportunity, that's your luck. You work for it. Now, the luck could be that you walk into a coffee shop and you end up right next to Sir Richard Branson, but the preparation is that you're ready to have the conversation with him. So no luck, preparation only.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Then we have a question from Aisha, if I'm saying that right, in the chat. I don't know if you want to speak up and ask your question. You can do that now if you like. Because I'm not sure what the acronym means. Aisha has asked, she says, I'm doing MBBS. Can I be an astronaut? Maybe she means a Bachelor of Marine Science, but maybe somebody else is more familiar with that.
So, well,
Oh, it's
let's
a
do an
medical,
astronaut question.
Yeah, sorry. It looks like a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery. Does that sound right?
So if you are looking to be a government astronaut, there are a couple of ways to go about it. NASA publishes all of their requirements there. A lot of times they're military, sometimes they're scientists, but they have height, weight requirements, the educational requirements all set out there for you if you want to go the government route. And you can pretty much do it with any degree, as long as you meet all the educational requirements that they have. So if you're an art major and you've taken your physics courses, I think that makes you applicable. So I would check out NASA's website. I would look and see what it takes to be an astronaut there and see what you can learn about it. But the good news is you don't even have to worry about your degree if you come and fly with Virgin Galactic. You just buy your ticket, get your training, and you go up with us and you will be an astronaut. Other questions?
Hey, can I add to that? Yeah, another great way to go to space is if you're a scientist and maybe you design an experiment that gets carried out on a suborbital flight, and you're the expert on that kind of experiment. So Virgin Galactic does have people that are flying. Alan Stern's flying with his own experiments as a passenger. So he's going, you know, as part of his university, I think that's sponsoring him. So, you know, that's another way that you can get to space, and you know, great opportunities there.
I agree with Ron. Lots of great chances to get out there and do research.
Well, what other questions do you guys have for Katrina? Or for Ron or Kim, for that matter? It looks like Rebecca's got her hand up. Go, take it away, Rebecca.
Yeah, Katrina, what an amazing presentation. It is such a pleasure to see someone so joyous and so positive and so successful. I truly congratulate you, and I thank you for being here with us today. My question is, you know, the space industry seems like it's really geared towards the young people, the young generation. And my question to you is, where do people who are middle-aged and older fit into this all this newness that's happening in space? Where do people who are possibly transitioning careers or wanting to get involved, how does their age affect their ability to participate?
You know, I think that's a great question, Rebecca. I remember when I turned 35 and I went to go to an event, and I forget which company, but it was for young professionals. but I was 35 and I was no longer a young professional when I was offended. So when did 35 not be young anymore? You're now old. But I don't think that there is a limitation on your age. I think that people are looking for skilled professionals, commitment, vision, ideas. And if you have those things, I think people are ready to hire you in the space industry, especially. All of these companies are hiring right now. Virgin Galactic itself is hiring quite a bit, looking for people with a ton of different perspectives and experience. Yes, my young people are wonderful. They have these great ideas and we bring them in, but people who are more experienced and seasoned, there's room for you still at the table. Come on and have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, Virgin Galactic just hired a barista at Spaceport who's making coffee drinks and serving people food and things. So I mean, what a great job. You're right there with the astronauts as they're coming out. So
I'm looking at their job listings right now. There's security specialists, event managers. There's a lot more happening at Virgin than you might even have at NASA, because they're a company catering to customers, right?
Absolutely. They're hiring in my group. You can come and work with me.
Well, it looks like Liam has his hand up too.
Oh, yes. Hello there. Wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Katrina, Kim, and Mark, for bringing this to the world. I was struck just with your first comments, Katrina, almost, where you spoke to how you had a particular place that you were going in university and your education, and you came to this sort of aha moment, which is, this is not me. This is not going to do it for you. And what that has come up for me as a question is, what was it like for you to actually switch gears and go in another direction? You sort of shared a little bit about that, but that sounds like a really, I'm sort of thinking, at that time, were your parents sort of invested in, and were you invested in this idea of being a doctor and other things? And then you said, no, I'm here and this is not where I need to be. You need to be somewhere else. And the reason I ask about what that was like for you, sort of like at a visceral level, was I think that's something that a lot of young people in their early formation of their careers could find themselves in, right? You sort of had this vision of where you're going to be. And then you get to this spot and there's a fork in the road where you get to make a choice. And it sounds like you took a really brave choice. It seems like that to me. It may not have felt like that inside your skin and bones, but I'm just curious about that, because I found that so inspiring that you switched and look where you are now.
I think hindsight is always 20/20, Liam. But in that moment, I was in my qualifying exam, and it was like 6 hours. And at the end of the qualifying exam, I'm sitting in my office, and I had at that time the old-fashioned CD player, and I was playing my Charlie Parker and listening to my jazz. And my mentor comes in, and along with my chairperson, and he says, Katrina, you passed your qualifying exam. We want you to go on and complete your thesis, but I'm taking this position at Yale, where I'll be chairman in that biomedical division. You could apply to Yale and you could come with me, or you could stay at Cornell and you could work with one of the other steering people on your committee. And I remember looking at him, I said, or I could go home. I'm going home. And he just looked at me and like I had completely lost my mind. And I think in that moment, he probably thought I had. Yeah. But I think it was brave. But in that moment, I wasn't thinking about being brave. I was really thinking about self-preservation. I think it was a really hard situation. The school was difficult. The class was hard. The research was not fulfilling. And I had to reinvent myself. So like you made a point of saying, I think students need to know, and even the professionals, we reinvent ourselves every day, and you're supposed to. If you are not moving the needle, if you're not reinventing yourself, you're not growing, you're not moving, you're going to be very unhappy. And it's okay to step away. And I think it's better if you do and find what you love, because you spend the majority of your day at work. You might as well do something you love. Don't stay there and be miserable. I didn't have a backup plan though. I was just going home like Scarlett O'Hara back to Tara. I'll think about it tomorrow.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much. That was the kind of answer that really I find just such an inspiring way to look at your life and take responsibility for it. I hear, you knew that you were stepping away from something and reinvented yourself. What such, I'm just taking something personally from what you've said there. So even though I'm 59 years old, going to be 60 in another 6 months or so, anyway. But yeah, I think there you go. Lots to learn from you.
That's young
Thank you
compared to
so
some of last year's space travelers.
much. Yeah, there you go.
So we had another raised hand from Matasham, and then I see that Laurel has her hand up too. Matasham, do you want to ask your question?
Yes, I would love to. So my next question is, Miss, how do you suggest us as students, how can we contribute to the industry right away, like as from such young age? As my age is 17 right now, and I don't really have a lot of experience, but I do want to start having experience and contribute, but the possibilities are limited. So how do you suggest it?
So I would say the first thing I would do is read. You have the internet at your fingertips. I would read everything, ebooks, articles. I would be on Twitter. I would be on company websites, learning their mission statements, learning their mission profiles, and I would build a base knowledge. And then I would start to think about how I can get those skills. So if a job that I'm dreaming of requires programming or good writing, communication, I would be working on developing and fine tuning those skills. Never worry about perfection in a job. You have to go in and get the job and have the willingness to learn. I assure you that they will take someone who is willing to learn, excited with a base skill, than someone who is superb at everything, but has horrible social skills. Because they'll take them for a little while, but that kind of person ruins the morale of a team. But if you're someone who is truly a giver and a learner and you work hard, that work ethic is what's going to carry you a long way. And that's what I would aim for. Study, figure out what you want to do, read, take different opportunities. If it is going to a conference, go to a conference, whether it be virtual or in person. So many of them are virtual still right now and free and discounts for students. Take advantage of those opportunities and see what things are out there. I've even seen remote internships from NASA where they'll pay the students a wonderful stipend and let them work virtually. So go out there, use LinkedIn to your benefit and see what things are available to you and just try it out. In all things, find a mentor, reach out to someone, make contact with someone and get to know them. I have had even students reach out to me on LinkedIn and I've answered their requests. I've held one-on-ones with them. I've given them advice on anything they want to talk about, whether it was resume, career, or just life itself. One young lady wanted to even know, is it okay for her to wear her natural hair? And I took that call and I discussed that with her. But you've got the passion, the desire, and that's the first thing that you need.
All right. I agree. That's complete. That's a really great answer. And one other request, would you please share your LinkedIn profile so that I could contact you?
Absolutely. Just go on to LinkedIn and you can type in my name. I'll type it in the chat for you and send me a request. Remind me that I met you at Space Prize.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I think I got it. And let's pass the mic over to Laurel.
Okay. Hi, thanks, Mark. And I just want to say, I don't have a question, but I do have compliments and information on Katrina and my relationship to Katrina. I hate to blame everything on COVID, as so many people do, but because of COVID, I really haven't gotten to know Katrina as much as I would love to know her because she has moved into my hometown, Lancaster, California. And so we are neighbors in a way. And I've known that Galactic was in the Mojave Roseman area down the road from my house. But I never really got to investigate much about what they were doing. I knew they were in the space area. So hearing Katrina talk about Galactic, it just really opens up my eyes to what's in my backyard that I kind of overlooked. And I just want to thank Katrina for such an enthusiastic presentation. Being a retired teacher, I'm always looking to help young people. And I want to say to Katrina that the tips that she has given to this audience about being prepared and just everything that she has said this afternoon, I'm going to try to remember that when I interact with a young person, because these are things that a young person should be aware of in order to be successful with their dreams. So I want to give a big thank you to Katrina for making this presentation. You touched on so many important points. I appreciate that. And hopefully, Katrina and I will get to know each other more. We're in the same sorority, but because of COVID, everything has been through Zoom. And so we haven't had that personal one-on-one conversation besides visually through the computer. So just looking forward to getting to know her better. She's from the same state that I'm from, Louisiana. She went to the same undergrad university, Southern University, that I did. And so we have a lot of catching up to do. And I'm just so proud to know that Katrina is involved in your program. I applaud her. Thank you.
Thank you.
So great. And thank you, Laurel, for your service as a teacher too.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, last moment for any questions. And I will throw one out there as well. And hopefully it's relevant to Katrina, because I do want to ask Kim while you're both on here, how her waitlist experience was Sunday. And this is an experience, Katrina, that as we all know, you guys at Virgin are working to give people. So I thought it might be fun to hear from somebody who just experienced weightlessness for the first time.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and the best part was being able to go with the girls from our program. We took the 5 girls, the 5 winners of Space Prize, up on the 0G flight. We went with Denise Crosby from Star Trek, and the girls, you could just tell that they felt so free, and this was such a perspective changing experience for them. So it really was just a pleasure to get to see their excitement and to know that we're going to be able to run future contests. We'll be able to give this wonderful perspective changing experience to other girls across the globe.
I love that. That's amazing. Take me with you next time, Kim.
I got you. Anytime.
And then hopefully we're sending girls up on Virgin sooner than later, right?
Just the hope.
Any last minute questions then? We've got a couple of minutes of flexibility, but otherwise we will go ahead and wrap it up.
My question is, what are the problems she had to face in early times or even facing right now?
What kind of problems do you mean in the aerospace community or me myself?
Yes, in the space industry and aerospace community.
I think there's always a challenge if you're looking at it from the engineering perspective. You know, you dream this big, beautiful design, and then you always have weight. Weight is a constraint. Your vehicle cannot be that heavy. You have to think about whether or not you need active redundancy, or if you need something on standby. What are the single points of failure? We're always thinking about, you know, what does it take to be successful? And I love success space, but I also live in the fault space too, where I look at the risk. And we accept a certain amount of risk, but we have to be careful what kind of risk we accept. So it's an evaluation of the overall system, the design, comparing whether one design is better than the other, what's the trade-off. You could have the best vehicle ever, and it could be so expensive to maintain. And then you only get to fly on it once because you can't afford to keep it up. So you have to strike that balance between what is sustainable, reproducible, and cost-effective and safe. So those are always going to be your challenges, whether you're in government or a private industry. You want to think safety and mission assurance.
Yes, exactly. I got your point. Thank you once again.
You're welcome.
It was a
Great
pleasure
questions.
talking to you. Thank you.
It's a very concrete point to end on, but very relevant to your work, isn't it? Well, thank you everyone who joined us live and shared their questions and shared your experiences too. And thank you, Kim, for joining me and hosting the interview and asking such great questions. That was fantastic the way you stitched that all together. And of course, thank you, Katrina, for coming and sharing with us. And we've been able to capture this, and it's going right up on our channel for students and educators and enthusiasts everywhere. And it was just fantastic to hear your advice for young people, like the people asking questions here, and for the like the girls that flew 0G with us this weekend. We're excited that many more will be able to get to see this video and learn from you too.
Thank you so much, Mark. I guess if my last piece of advice would be to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If ever you feel comfortable in everything you do, you are static, you're not growing, you're not challenging yourself. So be a little uncomfortable and motivate yourself to push a little bit further.
What is it? Mario Andretti's quote was, if everything's under control, you're not going fast enough.
You got it.
Thank you so much, Katrina, for those brilliant answers. So much wisdom. I have things that I'm ready to take back and apply to my own world too. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really love being here. Thank you for inviting me. And I can't wait to see what other great things you do with Space Prize. And those girls are so lucky to have you and the great opportunities you're providing. I love it.